Welcome to Into the Words, a podcast from the Highlights Foundation Retreat Center. Today in the cabin, we have our dear friend, Meg Medina. Welcome, Meg.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Meg, it's been so great to have you here. Talk to me a little bit about the workshop that you just did with Carolyn D. Flores. We just did a podcast with Carolyn this morning, so she gave us a little bit.
Well, it's been heaven, of course. It's such a beautiful setting to come and be suspended in time and in this just gorgeous nature in the fall here in Pennsylvania. So our conference was, our workshop was about nurturing your authentic voice. And Carolyn and I, as we were thinking about it, it's so easy to be blown off course in the process of being a writer or illustrator at all points of our career. Early, when we're searching for what is our voice, what is our vision for our work, and even as our careers start to take off, as we're trying to shape who we want to be over time, who we want to be in the lives of children and librarians. So, it's been a wonderful conversation into how we look at ourselves and decide what our mission is, what our values are, what are the things that we really want to accomplish for ourselves as people and for children. Mm-hmm. So that's been fun.
So, and you started, what struck me, it was so amazing, was when you started your talk with your mission statement, and you shared, and this was something you had written many years ago.
Yeah, in the year 2000, and so 19 years ago. And I had come upon that document periodically over the years. It was tucked away in one of my daughter's photo albums in the attic. And so I was thinking about where I was 19 years ago, and this is really what was important to share with the women who came for this workshop. So 19 years ago, I had little babies. I had 3 children. We were just struggling to get by financially. I was aching to write, and couldn't find the space or economically or just in time to do it. And I was just feeling so sad and frustrated. I couldn't figure out how to explain that to my husband. It was just a really hard time. I had moved to a new city. I felt lonely. There were a million things. And so I remember that it was suggested to me by someone who worked, in business. Have you thought about writing a mission statement for yourself, a goal statement for yourself, a vision for what you want your life to look like? And so I did it. And I wrote it. And the vision in particular, you have to get very specific. What do you want your life to look like? And back then I wrote all those things, and what was shocking to me was how many of those things had come to be in my life. And what I tried to explain to the participants is that when I first wrote it, I felt ashamed, and I felt afraid for wanting those things. And I felt like, who am I to want such things? This is ridiculous. But I say this to young people when I'm in their schools. I say this to authors, to fellow authors. Sometimes the battle is raising your sights and having the vision for yourself, seeing what you're trying to go to, and then you can get there. The other way I think about it sometimes is when, and try this, but not on a busy highway. Like you're driving a car, right? And there's your windshield in front of you. If you focus on the bugs that are splatted there and the little smudge and all those things, if you focus on what's right there, you're going to get into a car crash. Right. You have to look through, and that disappears, and you see where you're going. And I think that we have to do that. And one of the great things about this week is that I got to revisit my own mission statement. Like when I asked them to write their mission and vision and goal, I rewrote mine now. So now what do I want? Mm-hmm. And I really am curious to see in 19 years what part of that comes true.
Yeah. For me, it was just a nice reminder to think you need to be looking far out. Yeah. And at least to have something. You don't have to hit those goals. It doesn't really matter. It's more about just knowing that you've got something guiding you along the way. Yeah.
Well, I think about that of highlights in general. Like every time I'm here, I'm struck certainly by the peace and the beauty of the place, but also like this was somebody's dream and vision, right? And it was centered on their love of children and their belief that they matter and that childhood is an important time. And I've seen, it's so amazing to see the generations that have taken that on and what it is today. Even in the time that I've known you, the changes that have happened here. Not only the physical changes, but also the changes in the programming, the depth of the programming, the new voices that are here, the decisions that you make about how are we serving today's children. Like, those are brave decisions. They're, it fills me with a lot of hope to see how we all sort of pull together on these things.
And I think what we see in the broader Kidlit community is that concept of community.
Yeah.
And there are so many members of that community inviting others in and doing the work to expand our reach and to foster those relationships. So hopefully we can keep pushing on that.
Yeah.
So I want to shift gears real quick. One of the things Carolyn touched on in her talk was about the fun of it. And you need to be having fun. And I wonder if you could just kind of riff off of that for a second.
Yeah, she's good at that because she is so fun. She's just, I like the notion when you get stuck, because you will, right? In anything, you will get stuck. And so when we get stuck creatively, we feel very tangled. Like you can't see your way forward. It's like having some sort of chain that's like in a million knots and like you can't pick it out, right? But I think Carolyn's instincts are exactly spot on. Like, so forget the tangle and just backpedal to where you still loved this project that you were working on. What was it that you loved about it? Start writing from there. Read a little bit before there and start writing from there again. I think that's really true. I think writing and illustrating always has its hard patches. It will always have the moments where you're in the woods. But preserving that sense of wonder, that sense of joy, that gets communicated out to kids. So I think her instincts are exactly right. I love that nugget that she shared. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Meg Medina, for
My
being
pleasure.
here with us at the Highlights Foundation. It's been great to host you and for you to host our workshop on nurturing creative voice.
Thank you, George.